Welcome back, everyone. I am going to continue with Bonnie's training here. We're still working on getting those yields and everything down a lot better than what she's got them right now. She's got a good understanding of them, but she still has a lot of resistance of when I ask her to do them and moving her feet and stuff. She likes to give me resistance with it, and I need to get all that resistance out for when I go ahead and do the like continuing the program and stuff, and just make sure I get her full respect and stuff, because right now she sort of respects me but not fully. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working on these yields here and see how she does. Much better. I like that. Ooh, much better. Stop and go. I don't want you to walk forward. Good girl. So I just blocked her from walking forward there. So that was much better than what she had been doing. She is turning her head a little bit, giving me a little bit of resistance. There, she's holding up more a bit straighter there. Good girl. That is more what I'm looking for. You must have remembered somehow. Alright, let's see how you do again. And as you can see, it's not taking much for me to get her to move. There, she wanted to walk forward, so I just blocked her with my stick. Good. There, good girl. And I'm not getting that much resistance, or she's not really giving me the few years like she was the other day with them. Alright, let's see if she does with hindquarters. She's never really had a problem with them before. Good. Now I'm going to watch this shoulder here and make sure she's not stepping into my area with the shoulder, because they can get pretty sneaky like that, and you'll be yielding the hindquarters and stuff, and then they'll take their shoulder and they'll step into your space like that. So they can get a little bit sneaky like that when that happens, and then if they were to do that and you don't go back and crack them, then it kind of defeats the purpose of yielding the hindquarters in the first place, because it's kind of like when you play cornhole, it cancels each other out, because she's like, I'll move my hindquarters, but I'm going to step into your space in the front here. Let's see how she does this way. Wish she was better before this way anyway. Nope. I just don't want you to walk forward. You were doing pretty good. And there, the hip kind of came towards me. So it was too late. I couldn't reach back and correct it. So I had to just kind of skip that what should have been a correction there. She did kind of take a step towards me, but I didn't have my stick and stuff in the right position to get the correction in at the right time, so I had to just kind of abort mission there. But if she tries again, like here, where she did it, which I figured she would, because she enjoyed it the first time, this time I was ready for it, and I was able to do the correction and be like, hey, I see what you're doing there. Good. Much better. Good girl. Alright, I don't want you to walk forward. I just want you to stand here. Good. Good girl. Alright, licking and chewing, that's always a good sign there. Just rub her. Let her know that was the right answer. Good. Alright, hindquarters. Watching the shoulder, because she's starting to try and push into me with the shoulder. You can go forward. I'm okay with going forward in a little circle in front. Just don't push into me with it. There you go. Much better. Good girl. I don't train with treats there really, so you can't. It defeats the purpose of looking for a treat here. Yeah, sure does. Okay, so now I really got to get the back going too. So I'm gonna work at making sure that I can get her to lower her head pretty easy, with a nice little feel here. So she is pretty heavy here. So I'm just doing a little bit of pressure on the nose, and then I'm just gonna shake her head back and forth and see if I can get her to free her bowl up here a little bit and give me a little bit of a release here downward. There it was. And then as soon as she did it, I went ahead and released it. Yep. I don't know what you're doing there, but all right, so I'm gonna ask again. There was a release. Good. Ask again. And I'm just using the consistent pressure that I would normally use when asking for the nose down. I'm not going to increase it. I'm only going to shake her head back and forth until she kind of gives in and gives me that head lowering there. Alright, she's still not giving in. I'm just going to stick here. Oh, there it was. There it was. I just hung in there and waited until she gave it to me. I'm not going to let her rub on me or anything because that's kind of disrespectful for her to do. I'm just going to tighten her up just together here. So it's slightly low on her nose, so I just want to bring it up. Okay. Ready? All right, again, I'll ask again, get her to see if we can lower her head. Nothing. Make her head. Get her to try and lower it. Over it. Over it. Over it. I'm not having as much luck. Like, she's doing it, but it's taken me quite a while to get her to respond to it. So I'm going to try a little bit different method here, and I'm going to try to go up between her ears here and ask her to lower her head this way. I'm going to see how she responds like this. So they have like the pole here, and there's that piece of, or that bone here. I'm just going to kind of squeeze my fingers there, ask her to lower her head. Big, 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 more, until she drops her head away from it. There it is. Good girl. There it is. Good girl. I want her to become really, really super light with this, so. Big, 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 big. There you go. Good. So you may ask me why I kind of aborted mission with using this method here. There you go. That's good. So I kind of aborted mission going with this method here because I wasn't getting the results that I was kind of looking for. And so I went a little bit different way where I wanted her to learn that she feels pressure up here, that she needs to learn to lower her head as well. Because essentially when she kind of feels pressure on this knot, it's above her head too, that's telling her to lower her head there. So she can kind of correlate the two a little bit together. There you go. And if worse came to worse, what I would do is, if she's a little bit better with it up here, so what would happen is, if she was really reluctant to release to me just asking with a steady pressure like that, what I would do is I would just incorporate both of them. I'd continue my steady pressure, and then I'd add this on top of it until she gave, and then I'd release both of them. So this is a lot more pressure than I would like to do with the up here part. I would like to get where I'm just not even really having hard to touch her. Good girl. Good. I like that. And you might be asking me why is it so important to teach a horse to lower their head? Well, obvious reasons, somewhat because of the bridling, or what most people might think is because of the bridling, but there's a lot more benefit to it than just for the bridling measure too. If you can get a horse to keep their head in the lower state, it also changes their mindset as well. So by keeping them, good girl, I like that, licking and chewing and stuff, that's good. I'm gonna give her a minute to kind of process that with that lick and chew there. So she's kind of more of like a cold-blooded horse, so she's gonna take a little bit more processing time to process things. So I'm gonna give her a minute here and kind of think things through of what we just did there. So, what was I saying? Oh, with the whole head down thing, not only is it helpful for when you try and put a bridle on them, but it also helps with their mentality is if they are really anxious or excited or anything like that. What you can do is you can help them by lowering their head, and then it'll help them get into more of that relaxed head state, and it can really change the demeanor and give them that relaxed demeanor and help them out quite significantly. So you wouldn't really think it would make that big of a difference there, but it actually does. It's quite a big, significant difference as far as that is. Good girl. Still let her kind of think about it. She's not quite done processing. And I think she's getting ready to be done. Maybe not. Maybe not. Still licking and chewing. Still seems to be kind of processing things. And this processing is very important in training horses. I mean, it looks like I'm just standing here, which I am myself, just standing here, but the horse needs this time to process this and be able to retain this lesson that I'm teaching her. So in order for this all to stick in her mind, she needs the time like this to process everything that we just kind of taught her, and for her to be able to remember everything there. Alright, so there's her pawing. Then I know that she's ready to start. So I'm going to begin with just the halter. Good. What are you doing? That's about, but just asking for her head down, nose down, good. And you see already how much better she is with that, with just the halter and barely touching it. She's already lowering her head. I'm teaching her this before I'm going to do any backing, because in order for her to back correctly, I need her to do it with her head down, so then she engages her hindquarters to do it. Good. So I need her to be able to lower her head this way. Good. Alright, so if I ask her to back up, her to be able to back up, and I'm just going to keep my hand low. Good. That was good. Good, good. Alright. Keep my hand low, go forward to knee. Good. I'm just going to ask for a couple steps here initially. And I'm going to do it from both sides, because what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. Good, I like that. Very good. All right. Move your hindquarters around. Not your shoulder. Hindquarters. Good. All right. Ooh, good girl. I like that. And you lift the two. So her personality has already improved immensely since I've worked with her. This is like the third lesson we've had together. So her personality initially was kind of, screw you, I don't want to move my feet, I don't want to do what you're asking me to do. And then, especially this last one, is she just initially was like, I'm not going to do it. And so I was like, yes, you're going to do it. And I made her do it. And then the second time she was like, I'm not going, or I don't want to do it. I'll do this, but I don't want to, and I'm not happy about it. And so she would give me a few years. And right there, you see how she was starting to fall there. So I'm going to start putting her to work and doing drift yielding here. That's telling me that she needs to get her mind put to work here, and she's got extra energy tensed up here. Good. If I want to remember, if I want to move those hindquarters over, I could lift the rope there, disengage the hindquarters. If I need the front end to come over, I can kind of block up front here and keep pushing her away. Good. And then if I want her to come forward, I'm not going to move my body to get her in the position that I need to be. I need to move her feet to get my body where it needs to be, to ask her to continue walking around me. And I'm going to start with her in a really tight, small circle so I can still reach her with my stick here. And we are going to work and make sure that we're going to work at trying to get her in frame to use her body correctly here too. So a lot of times when I'm doing like working with them, it might not be a lot of hard work with them. It might be a little bit of trotting, walking in small circles and stuff, and they might hardly ever break a sweat or anything. And you're probably thinking like, what's the whole point of this? This doesn't make any sense to me, which is why I'm kind of explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So right here, I'm monitoring her back feet. I'm watching her back feet. And I'm looking that her back feet are reaching up underneath herself, and she's engaging her hindquarters. And I want this inside back foot to land about where that front right is leaving. And so she was doing a pretty good job then. And then she's kind of starting to fall in here. So when she does fall in, I'm just going to ask her to step that hindquarters out a little bit with my rope. There we go. And then I'm going to get her to kind of step up underneath herself a little bit better here. And then if I need to tell her that, hey, I need you to keep going, because she might want to stop on me, because that's disengaging her hindquarters, and that's basically kind of like a brake. So she might try and stop, and I'm going to have my stick, and I'm gonna be like, either I'm gonna tap her in the belly, which would be like if I was riding her, tell her to keep going, or I could go kind of behind her this way and tell her to keep going by coaxing her to go forward. Okay? And I'm looking for her nose to stay in here. And if you kind of use her belly more to kind of bump her, it's going to help keep her ribs to the outside and get more of that arc as well, because she's a really hefty girl, unfortunately. So, oh, I like that. She's looking into it, and that's good. So her ability to flex is not there. This is something that we're going to have to kind of work at a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I call a direction change with a purpose. So it's that is I'm going to yield the hindquarters 2 steps. 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4, and then ask her to come forward. And that's where I'm doing 2 steps yielding the hindquarters, 2 steps yielding the forequarters, and then the forward yield with asking her to walk forward on me. Okay? So she, I can already tell, bends better to the right. It's just more natural to her. Horses have one type that they're better at than the other. It's just how they are. It's kind of like people. You have a lefty and a righty, and, well, she's a righty. So right here, she's giving me the FU ears, and she's kind of overbending, and I don't really care that her ears are thin, and B, that she's kind of overbending on me here. And it would not, I would not put it past her that she wouldn't try and reach out and nip me. So I'm going to have my stick ready to slap her in the nose if I need to tell her that that's not okay. Good. All right, I like the licking too, that's good. And what I'm asking of her right now is not hard work. This is just getting her to move her body, move her feet, and think. I want to engage her brain and get her mind working and get her a little bit flexing a little bit here. There you go. There's a little bit of drift yielding. Good. That's always a good exercise, is just drift yielding, especially if they're scared or anything like that. Getting them to side pass to the direction or wherever, side pass away from you. Good girl. So she's licking and chewing. I'm going to give her a minute here to kind of process and reward it for being a good girl there. But yeah, back to the drift yielding, that's always a really good thing if you have a horse that's kind of freaking out or something, that they're not mentally with you. Getting them to do a drift yielding is a good exercise because it forces them to pay attention to what their feet are doing. And they have to disengage both the hindquarters and forequarters at the same time. And so you're going to have to kind of do it at a quicker pace, that they have to kind of pay attention to what their feet are doing, or they'll fall over on their face because they'll trip over their legs. And it forces them to use the thinking portion of good. I like that. She flew out, she's licking, chewing. That's really good. Good girl. All right. And it forces them to use that thinking portion of their brain instead of that reactive side of their brain. So when a horse is using the reactive side of their brain, you can't really teach them anything when they're in that mindset. We have to get them focused in the thinking portion of the brain, using that portion of the brain, and then we can teach them stuff. So when a horse is disrespectful, they can still be using the thinking side of their brain, but you still have to earn the respect in it. It's more or less the fight or flight one is in the reactive mindset. So, but either or, you're going to earn your respect or get them into that thinking method by moving their feet. And like I said, the drift yielding is a great exercise to get them into that correct mindset there. Good girl. And again, like I said, she's kind of more of a laid-back horse, cold-blooded horse, so she's going to take a little bit more processing time than what a warm-blooded horse would take. Like if she was like a hotter-blooded horse, I would already be starting her working again. But being she's cold-blooded here, I'm just going to let her kind of process everything and think everything through until she kind of tells me that she's ready to kind of start back up. And her main cue to me is she'll usually start to paw. So if she's okay to paw, then I was like, okay, let's go back to work then. Let's move those feet around. Or if she's able to look off and pay attention to other stuff and everything like that, then that's telling me that she's about ready to go back to work. Like right now, she's starting to pay attention to some semis that are going by outside. She can hear them. So she's starting to pay attention to them. So I'm going to go ahead and put her back to work and get her feet moving, okay? But I do like the fact that, she didn't start pawing this time before I had to get her to go. So that is improvement we're making there, good. All right, so here, all right, I still need to go forward a little bit. So there I was getting a little bit in front of her shoulder, so she was starting to kind of stop. So I had to go ahead and be like, no, I still need you to go forward. So I just kind of took my stick and coaxed her to keep going forward there. All right, so she's giving me the FU ears here. So I'm going to be really conscious of what her ears are telling me here. And I'm going to be ready to be able to smack her in the face if she needs it. Because again, she's a big horse. She can do a lot of damage to me. And if that takes a little bit of a smack from the side of the nose there to be like, hey, that's not okay, I'm going to do it. Because one good little whack is better than 1,000 little taps. And I guarantee you that she's going to have a lot more respect for me if I'm able to do that to her and give her a good little tap there and get her attention and be like that. And here I'm going to watch too. So this I'm going to do change direction with purpose. So 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4, and forward yield. Good. Good girl. Very good. Much better. So she's still roughly a little bit on the right side there, where she was. I'm going to ask her hindquarters to step out, but she's not really underneath herself here in this way. Good. But again, like I said, she doesn't flex as good this direction. She's a little stiffer. Good. All right, direction change with purpose. So 1, 2, open the door. 3, 4. Good, and then ask her to come forward then. And you see there, she kind of challenged me a little bit there on when I asked her to cross over in front of me there. She kind of got really close into my space, and she wanted to see if I was going to back up or if I was going to maintain my space, and I did maintain my space there. So it's got a lot to do with getting the hang of holding all your stick and string and rope and being able to kind of balance everything and know where to put the stuff and when. And here she's giving me the FU ears, so I'm going to be conscious of what's going on. So I'm going to change directions with the purpose. 1, 2, open the door. 3, 4, good. And ask her to come forward. Good. And you might ask me, well, what was it, or how do you know when to change direction? So when she's giving me these screw you ears and stuff, I'm gonna make her work a little bit harder. So 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4, and come forward. Good. Very good. So before I do really anything else with my horses, I have to get all this stuff working. This drifting, this forequarter yield, this hindquarter yield, her ability to back up and lower her head, engage her hindquarters. Good, I like that. Good girl. I need her to come up forward off a nice soft heel, which she's getting much better about. Good. Good girl. I like that. So she's heavy here, much heavier than what I would appreciate. So instead of pulling harder, I just went and used my stick until I told her that, hey, I need you to come off of that. So right here, she's kind of getting a little heavy too, her nose is getting out. So I'm going to be like, hey, I need you to yield those hindquarters back. I'm going to bump her nose back here. Get her to maintain this circle with her curve in her nose here. And then I need her to still go forward. And I'm going to keep my hand down low. And then if she tries to straighten that nose out or anything, I'm going to kind of bump this rope back towards her hock area. Good. And she's reaching up underneath herself. Good. And her job is going to be maintain the C-shaped frame with her entire body. And I shouldn't have to sit there and hold her into it the whole while, because it's going to be her job to, it's her responsibility to be responsible for her own feet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And another thing I want to kind of point out to you guys with the whole responsibility part is, you see how my body is kind of facing right in front of her nose right here? So she's giving me a few ears and a few face right now, and I don't appreciate it, so I'm going to go ahead and yield the hindquarters. 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4. And if I add some speed to this and make her kind of work for it a little bit, she's not going to like it as much. It's going to be a little bit more of a punishment. 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4, forward. So that's going to be her punishment, more or less, for trying to pin her ears at me. 1, 2, open the door, 3, 4, and come forward. Good. There you go. That's better. And it's going to be her job to maintain this frame here, okay? And you see how my body's kind of going the same direction as her, and my energy's going kind of like up her nose here. What this is doing is it's making her responsible for her own feet, okay? So if my body was facing her, my energy's pointing towards her the whole while. And you can see here, she's kind of speeding up a little bit here at the walk, now that my energy's facing towards her, okay? So if I turn my body here, I take away the energy that's pushing her forward. See how she's blowing out now, licking and chewing? All that extra tension and stuff she's letting that out. Because she doesn't have that extra tension from me driving her forward with the energy that my body's doing when I'm pointing myself at her. So she's being responsible of her own feet. You see how she's getting more relaxed. Her walk is even slowing down a little bit. She's getting more of a relaxed walk here too. So I'm teaching her to be responsible for her own feet here. So if I were to tell her to trot, it's going to be her job to sit there and trot until I tell her to do something else. If I were to tell her to stop or canter or whatever it is I ask her to do, it's going to be her responsibility to maintain that. So by turning my body and going the same direction she's going is going to make her more responsible for her own feet. It's going to teach her to be more responsible for her feet. And because when you're on their back and stuff, you're not going to constantly be sitting there kicking them the whole while, telling them to go forward. At least I wouldn't want to be riding a horse like that because I'd get tired of it. I like to ride a horse where I ask them to do something and then I leave them alone, and as long as they're doing what I want them to do, then they get left alone. And they know that they did the right thing then. By me leaving them alone is telling them that they did the right thing. Good girl. So this is a really good lesson. She made a lot of progress since the last time there already. So let's see how she is here with lowering her head on the knot. Good. Not backward. There it is. Good girl. Very nice. Good. Down here. Good. Very good. What are you doing? No, don't grab on me. Good girl. So this next time what we're going to do is we'll do this, a bit faster. We'll do it at a trot and see if she can maintain that form while she's trotting too. And then if she is able to maintain that form and stuff, I will let her out on a larger circle. And as I let her out in a larger circle, I may have to bring her back in order to maintain that shape and frame that she needs to stay in to keep moving correctly. Because I would rather teach her how to use her body correctly than have to go back and re-correct her when I'm on her back. So if I can do it from the ground here from the very beginning and teach her, then everything that I do here on the ground is going to be able to relate to her then under saddle. Now I know she's going to be used for mainly a cart horse and stuff, but still this is just general fundamental groundwork that all horses really need to have now. They have to be able to move their forequarters, hindquarters, back, don't go forward off of the field. I should be able to move any horse that I'm working with in any direction and not have to move my feet. So I need her to come forward off of even lighter field than what she is here. So she didn't want to come forward, so I had to use my stick there to ask her to come forward. Instead, I didn't, pull harder. I just had to go resort with my stick here. So I can push her away, get her yield away from me, ask her to come forward. I can get her hindquarters to move away from me. There, and I'm not even moving my feet. And get this forequarters away. Good. Hindquarters here. Good. And then if I get her to back up. Now she doesn't know this method really of backing yet. Good. To know that means to lower your head and back up. Alright, so she got the back up part there, and at least she didn't throw her head up in the air, which is better. Good. good. Which this is gonna be similar to trying to, break it down her pole as well. Remember when we were asking her to lower her head with the knot? And we were breaking her pole free, that's kind of a little bit how she can correlate the two together there. I'm gonna keep going this a little bit, and I'm gonna try for a little bit of down pressure. There, and she lowered her head. And that down pressure is going to be from the knot there. So all I'm doing is I'm giving her the cue that I want her to learn, and then I'm giving her the cue that I know she already knows to help her connect the two dots there. Yeah. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna call that good for today with her. That's a pretty good lesson with her. She did quite well. I can't complain there. So, we'll work with her again tomorrow and continue our progress and probably do a bit more prodding, maybe get her sweating a little bit. She probably won't appreciate that, but it's not up to her. So, otherwise, we will see you then, and hopefully we can kind of maintain the progress here, and you guys can kind of watch and follow along as she goes. So thank you, and follow along, and we'll go from there. Have a good day.